Seat is a subsidiary of Volkswagen. Lower, lesser, littler. Like Skoda, it wasn't really meant to be better than VW. But mix up the recipe and you can stumble upon greatness. Things really took off for the Spanish maker with the Ibiza GTI Cupra. And then this, the Leon 20VT Cupra, hammered Seat's identity home. It's a Golf with a TT spec engine designed by an Italian and built in Spain. Worth a look then. But with that VW comfort dialed back, can it still do the grand tour bit? Well, 600 odd miles ought to answer that. Aesthetically, it's serious. It's definitely more VW with added Seat than the other way around, and particularly in grey it looks perfectly at home in the UK. Good then, because we're off to Wales, chasing a mini car enthusiast's wet dream, because it will be raining of course, the Evo Triangle. From East Anglia, that means an early morning, and you'll join us along the way to the mountains. That first shot of Spanish excitement is the moment you start it up, especially if it's got something to reverberate against. So that's the business actually, although it is significantly quieter inside. The point of any good road trip though is an early start, so fortunately the exhaust isn't too asbo. And we've done all those prep bits, fuel, tyre pressures, last night. So we're hitting the road nice and early in this rather drizzly October morning. And we'll see you along the road. There's something to this car that makes you want to turn off the main road. And I think that's possibly the most significant thing missing for the Mark IV Golf GTI. I mean, can you imagine a driver version of that car? In fact, they've pretty much made it. It's called every other Golf. Let's face it, that generation of GTI was pretty dull, especially since everyone bought it in silver. Really. But the Seat is a more sporty alternative. It adds all the stuff you'd hoped for. The dashboard is more upright and designed than the Golf's. Well, it's basically the Audi A3 interior. Details, white dials, snazzy floor mats, and well, judge for yourself, seat pattern. They're just about enough to spice up the interior. But like many a good hot hatch, it's in the exterior that this is more striking. Pretty serious body kit, cool starfish alloy wheels, and more honeycomb grille than you can shake a crunchy at. Yeah, this thing's pretty bloody purposeful, although the original 20VT Leon was rather tame, even for Espuela Grande standards. But fortunately, this Cupra spec car came fairly quickly into the model line when it was first released. Yeah, it's got menace. Maybe not as much as the Cupra R, but to me I think that's a good thing. It's just the right balance. Anyway, we need to get a move on. Whoa. B4077. The cabin may not be the most exciting place in the world, but it is practical and comfy. The GTI would be proud, although there was a little rattle coming from the top of the boot lid trim, which was a bit annoying, and a loose-fitting partial shelf. Ah, Volkswagen. Oh, it may be sunny, but it's still cold. Right, So we've stopped for lunch. We made pretty good progress this morning. We come from the other side of Leighton Buzzard, Hertfordshire. Came through there in the morning, trying to beat most of the rush hour. Got stuck in some traffic, as you do. We've been picking our way through the smaller roads. We've gotten to Malvern Hills now. And if, obviously you know that we're going to the Evo Triangle, we've been watching closely our route. We're not quite going in that direction. Reason is, we're going to be staying near Aberystwyth tonight, and then we're going to be heading north after that. How's the car been doing so far? Good. It's dealing with a lot of luggage in the back though, so thankfully it's got decent torque all the way around the rev band. Short gearing, great for hill climbs around here too. Yeah, the damping, struggling a little bit, and it feels like you can't unstick the rear with all that weight in the back. So that'll be interesting. We'll see more of that tomorrow. So for now, we're going to hit Worcester on the A44, cross to Leominster, and then pick our way through some smaller roads. There's some of those that I really want to show actually. Fire up the Cupra. Okay, it's not a Quattro. But hey, what is? Even an Audi these days. Certainly don't see many red ones. Although it should be worth mentioning that you can get the A3, same age, well, 90s, 96 came out, with the same engine. They badged it the 1.8T, and that is available in Quattro. Apparently it's quite good to drive as well, although it doesn't quite have the flair of maybe the Leon. Though I've got a good driving position, nice and low, short gear throw, and short gearing too, which is nice. Third to fourth, just like that. 1,000 RPM in it really, which is nice. And a perceptibly willing chassis as well. You can really feel it. I think that's something to do with the stiff springs actually. But if you get it at the right speed and the right angle in the corner, starts to work with you. And actually there is a bit of fluency to this chassis. I mean, and you have an idea of where it's going to do. That's partly because of Pirellis, and partly because of a decent amount of mechanical communication. Good brakes too. 312mm. I mean, consider that those are the same size as you get in a Mark 6 Golf GTI. 5 odd years newer. I think anything over 300 to me is pretty serious. Of course, with the Cupra R, you do get an upgrade and you get 4-pot Brembo calipers as well.
Fluency that, at least on greasy roads, can show some balance. But it's on sweeping bends and just pushing A-road miles under the bonnet that this chassis is happiest. Of course, it's no cloud of comfort. You're forever expecting the next shock from the road, but it's not what I'd call punishing, and it's a reasonable trade for body control.
So, we've gotten to one of my favourite roads into Wales, the B4355 from Knighton to Newton. I think I'm just going to shut up and let you enjoy it. 483. Another good road actually. But we're off to Newton, then headed towards Aberystwyth, and we'll see you somewhere on the way to the Triangle tomorrow. Good morning, and there is sleet on the car. It was sleeting a moment ago, despite the blue skies behind me. It's 3 Celsius this morning, it's chilly. It's only going to be 7 later as well, so we've got to watch the tyres.
The longer you spend with this car, the more of the engine sounds you start to pick up. First, it's that boomy exhaust, of course. Then intake, some turbo whooshing, just quiet enough to let filter in some of that fancy valve gear whirring at the top end. It's a strong engine, and you can hear it. But is it charismatic? Not quite.
Yeah, it's definitely got the power, especially without the luggage. Oh, it suddenly turns athletic.
It's not a full-on lout though, whereas a Civic Type R is that manic, and well, anything rear-wheel drive in this price bracket, or even a Celica Prelude, will certainly be more of a hoot here. The Leon is calmer. It reforms the GTI package into something a bit, maybe not a lot, but a bit more exciting.
You can feel corruptions, little bits in the road, but it's not bristling with feel. And there's a bit of slack. And that might be because of the bushings and the suspension. I mean, come on, it's sort of 15 years old now, this car. Suspension-wise, yeah, I think it's a touch too stiff. Weirdly, the Cupra R has softer springs, but higher damping rates. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. So it does feel a little bit skittish on the surface, especially on these Welsh roads. And it's got serious amounts of grip. It prefers understeering than oversteering. You really have to commit, actually, to get it to oversteer, or if it's down. Engine though is pretty good. That's the main reason you might want to buy one of these, to be honest, versus a Golf GTI. You get extra 30 horsepower. It's still that same engine though, it's just different style of tune, 5 valves, which is fairly exotic. But you don't really hear it. It's kind of quiet. And despite that exotic specification, it sounds rather dull. But it's got a nice turbo whoosh. And it's smooth. And there are little details too. You can hear that valve gear whir and little bits with the turbo, but it takes a while. It takes maybe a day of driving it, maybe even a week, before you can notice those little nuances.
Oh, and there was some oversteer after all. On smoother roads, it felt a lot more wieldy, and correction was a linear, easy thing. But like any oversprung car, it just doesn't give you the confidence on bumpy roads.
So what about the Triangle then? Well, definitely a good circuit of roads. And variety too, there's a whole mixture of stuff. We've got these long open sweepers with serious visibility. It means you can just push the car through and not have to worry about what's around the next bend. You can see it. The A5 stretch is a bit boring, but there are some tight bits on some of the, the upper bits of the Triangle. And on the smaller other B road, there's a lovely tree-lined section with crests and tight corners. You're looking at third gear with this car, maybe second gear with some others. Yeah, it's got everything. It's complete. It's not the best road around here. It's not the best selection of roads around here for sure, but it's complete. I think what I'm trying to get at here is that a name can be so easily blown out of proportion. Yes, Evo used the triangle to road test cars, sure. But let's not forget that there are so many good roads in this country, so many good routes you can wriggle out of the geography, unknown ones, quiet ones, challenging ones. And it's challenging that we want as enthusiasts, isn't it? Not some mass market badge-dressed sop. So thank you, Cupra. When an icon dropped the ball, it was there, it picked up the torch, and it carries on to this day. Cupra is a well-known name, in fact it's its own sub-brand. And as much as I'm partial to a bit of tartan, wait, the Mark IV didn't even give us tartan. So this evening, now, I'm going to take the Cupra on this road.
Because it's different. It might not be the ideal test route, but a great road isn't just the tarmac. And also for the car. It's not perfect, but who wants perfect? It's the unique geography and car that make the moment. Dusk setting in, crimsons and sienna browns of autumn, the flow of carving corners, opening scenes over crests, carrying speed through all of it. A Cupra moment. Time meant we had to take the A44 most of the way back, and the car did its big green road thing well enough. You don't get out and feel damaged, but you are still glad to have a break. The bumps keep reminding you that you're on less than perfect roads, and I personally could not fathom a comfortable setting for the seat. I guess you had to buy the Audi for lumbar support. A GTI compromise? No. A TT hatchback? Closer. It's a special mix of its own. An enthusiast special, maybe. It's like the scenic route. It may be a little less efficient, but it's definitely more interesting.